Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to MindShifters Radio with your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeanie. Michael and Jeanie share with you the wisdom of the ancient Aramaic internal process of forgiveness. They offer tools and support 5 days a week from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They will support you in building a solid foundation within yourself to live in pure love. In Aramaic, Rahma. Michael is the author of Why Is This Happening to Me Again? For more information on Michael and Jeanie, please visit www.whyagain.com. And now your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael and Jeanie Ryce. And the truth that is rooted within me.
Well, welcome to MindShifters Radio. My name is Michael Ryce, and I think Jeanie's having some technical difficulties. I'm not sure. She had an in-law pass away, or the father of an in-law passed away this morning, and so she's with family, fortunately in Bristol, and that's a good thing. And I am fortunately in Chicago. My former wife just had a kidney transplant, and so I'm just heading to the hospital to see her. So we're all in the right places at the right time. And we're delighted that you're in the right place at the right time in our show with Why Is This Happening to Me Again? Our celebration of Memorial Day goes on. I'm not even sure what day this is in our celebration, but I believe it's, actually we should probably call it Honoring Memorial Day. Probably day 98 or 99 in that process. And we plan to honor Memorial Day every day for the rest of eternity on this show. That is that we're going to invite you, and we're going to personally look at least one issue today where there's some form of hostility or fear that comes up in us, and be willing to forgive. And forgive having nothing to do with letting somebody else off the hook because there's some form of hostility or fear in you, but rather the forgiveness conversation we're having is an ancient Aramaic tool. The original appearance of forgiveness on planet Earth had nothing to do with letting other people off the hook. It was a tool with which you go inside yourself and remove what never belonged. And what never belonged was hostility and fear. And what creates war is the denial and dissociation from hostility and fear, and therefore blaming everybody else for it. And when you choose to take responsibility, you remove the hostility and fear. Bingo, nobody to blame, nobody to make war on. Whether it's a personal war, whether it's just an argument or some kind of a power struggle or what have you, or whether it's, wrapped in fisticuffs and guns and knives. It's time for this insanity to stop. It's been exacerbating on planet Earth for too long. The people who study war and murder say that there have been approximately, verifiably, 200 million murders on planet Earth in the last, in human history. And of that 200 million in all of human history, 130 million of them have been in the last century. Human beings, my offering is that human beings cannot survive long-term without forgiveness. If you don't move out of you the hostilities and fears that plague you, then you will have to find somebody else to give it to, somebody else to blame for it, and the tendency is to, with those hostilities and fears, have our intelligence reduced and find insane solutions, or what appear to be solutions, to our problems. When you forgive, instead of passing on to your future generations the hostilities and fears, how many times have you ever heard somebody look at the 6-year-old boy who's showing the same kind of temper tantrum his dad does and go, "Isn't that cute? He's just like his daddy." Yeah. And he's going to grow up to be the bully that his daddy is if somebody doesn't teach daddy how to forgive, and somebody doesn't teach the 6-year-old boy how to remove that hostility and fear that leads to that insanity. Nothing cute about it. Nothing cute about it. It's what's led to the 130 million murders that have happened on the planet in the last century, and we are committed to making a change in that dynamic on planet Earth. So we invite you to join us in that. And so welcome to the show. If you're not familiar with the forgiveness conversation, we suggest that you go to the website, www.whyagain.com, whyagain.com. Right-hand side, you'll see a link that says Download Worksheet. It's 4 or 5 items down. Once you click on that, then the first 4 links have to do with the starting point for the forgiveness process. There's an explanation as to what to do with each of the links, but the first one is in chapter 24 from my book. Second one is the actual worksheet, the how-to of forgiveness. It's an ancient technology. It was disappeared from the planet. It will shock you when you start to use it, and in terms of what it will reveal to you about yourself, and in terms of how it's done. It's quite the opposite of what anybody would think would work. And then the third link there is an awesome radio show that we did about 3 weeks ago with a young lady who was very courageous, and we went right from step 1 to step 7, right through the whole forgiveness process with just some of the most fabulous results I've ever seen with forgiveness work. So please tap into that link, give a listen. And the fourth link is another radio show with still a different way of looking at why forgiveness is so important. So we're delighted that you're with us. And Jeanie, are you with us yet? Are you here?
I am. I finally got on. Computer technical difficulties. The chat room wouldn't let me in, and the computer system didn't want me to sign on. It kept kicking me out. But anyway, I'm here, and we actually already have 2 callers.
Oh, fabulous. Let's go for it.
All right, area code 847. You're on the air. Who do we have?
This is Dr. Tim.
Oh, hey there, Dr. Tim. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. I'm calling from home, so that's why the different phone number. And I'm having a time trying to get on the chat room. It lets me log in on the big screen, but I can't type or get any registration on the chat room.
Do a refresh, because it would not let me on at all until just a minute ago. I actually had called Carol and to ask her if there was some kind of change in the password or something, because it wouldn't let me in the chat room at all. And I think that the way it works is nobody else can get in the chat room unless the host is signed in first. So if you'll do a refresh and see if it lets you in now. And for our callers, our number is 646-200-4169. And we do have another caller on the air, since that one's Tim, and I didn't recognize the phone number. So are you ready for our other
Tim,
caller?
glad you're here, and we hope everybody is getting ready for an awesome holy day today, a day to celebrate and to be together with family and in healing mode. We're glad you're here.
And it is day 99.
99. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay, so area code 541. You're on the air. Who do we have?
Hi, Michael. It's Julie Matthews.
Well, hey there, young lady. How are you?
I'm not doing well.
Oh, have you got another layer up in your face? How can we support you?
You have a really big one. It's my victim. And I have to go to court today, a small claims court, and I'm the defendant, and I just feel like I'm going to die. I've been so in fear, and I don't know how to love myself enough through this.
Well, bless your heart. Breathe is the first thing to do.
I'm probably going to lose. I'm probably going to lose because I took too much time to return a security deposit to a renter because there were repairs to do, and they took too long, and she's not giving any ground, and I'll probably just settle in mediation because, I feel like I should stand in my truth and stand for myself because I didn't mean to do any harm to anybody, and yet she's just trying to use the system to get more money out of me, and it's, I don't know. I don't know whether to stand for myself or let it go. I don't even know how to stand for myself because I'm in my victim, and I want to heal it.
Well, you certainly have my support, and it sounds like what's coming forward are 2 things. It sounds like a lot of fear and a lot of grief. And so the first order of business would be to recognize that you are this eternal being called love, and this is just your stuff.
Yeah.
Once you realize this is just your stuff, then all of a sudden it's not quite so serious.
It's an opportunity to heal something, but I could have mailed her a check, but I'm choosing to harbor a grievance instead of love myself, because I don't know what loving myself is in this case. Should I stand up for myself or just cave? Seems like those are my only two choices. They probably neither one are the real thing.
So the first thing to do is remember that when you make decisions out of an insane mind, and of course an insane mind is a mind without the active presence of love, you are just about guaranteed to make an incorrect decision. So the first order of business is forgive. Let loose of this pain that's in your face, and then from a sane, connected mind, you make your choice instead of decision, and everything gets to start to look and function differently. So that would be the starting point.
Yeah, that's good, and I just guess I still don't know how to forgive or what to forgive. I should be doing a worksheet, but I've been so busy I haven't been able to. So I know I just haven't been able to release these contents of my mind soon enough. So I know I'm going in, with all that against me, really, because I know something will get triggered,
Yeah. So it sounds like an awesome opportunity to let go of the unconsciousness of fear.
Yeah.
And that would be the first thing. If you look back in your life, you check out right now in your body what this fear feels like, and I'll bet before you ever served this summons, before you ever rented to this person, before you ever even owned the house that you rented to, you knew this quality of fear, right?
Yes, I have recognized that.
Yeah. So then the fear isn't about going to court, it isn't about losing, and it isn't about the money. It's about what's going on in your body from your replicate mind. And the mind's replaying these patterns of fear.
So in actuality, I don't really know what's going on in her mind, except she wants to get more money from me and thinks I should be responsible for her, for her damages to my house. She thinks she's going to get away with it because I exceeded what the court allows in the number of days to get the repairs done. And she had lied to me and said that everything was done, and when I got there, it wasn't. And so that's the story. But so there are two things involved.
Yeah. Take a breath, and notice that there are two things going on. One of them is your story, which is like an old story you've told before.
Yeah.
And the opportunity with that one is healing. And then there's problem solving. Problem solving is different than healing. Most often, what the fear-based mind, the hostility-based mind wants to do is solve the problem, not look at the healing. And I would invite you to reverse the process, and that instead of rushing into trying to solve this problem in a mind that's stuck in its turmoil and its darkness, that you start lightening the darkness. And so some of your worksheets, the core, the cancel step, some of the goals might be, I cancel my need to win, I cancel my need to be safe, I cancel my need to be approved of by the court, I cancel my need to be treated fairly. All of those things would fit as part and parcel of what your healing is going to look like in this situation.
Oh, okay. Does
that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And yet I still have to go through this drama of showing up. And so that involves story, facts, but, laced with story. And I'm trying to leave out the story and just do the facts. But the facts are against me.
So let me stop you there for a second and let me throw out a thought. So notice that your brain treats this whole situation as drama. Now, let me just share. I have a fellow who was a an accountant, a friend who was an accountant who did this work for several years. And he had a client that was very wealthy, and he was protecting the client's assets. The client died, and he was the executor of the estate. And this client's former girlfriend just ripped up one side and down the other, just fabricated all kinds of stuff. And he started out over this whole court thing in terror. It took him about 2 years to work through it. He learned to do the court process himself. And the last 6 months where he appeared in court about 5 different times, he's defending himself. He doesn't have an attorney. Last 5 or 6 times, the first several times, over 2 or 3 years as this thing dragged out, he was just in such terror and trauma. The last 5 or 6 times he went to court, he's like, yeah, I'm ready to do this. This is exciting. I'm having fun. This is a blast. I'm learning so much, and, it doesn't matter what happens. I'm just having a blast. And so to recognize that the reality that there's a drama is really to recognize that the drama is all a reality in your mind. And as you choose to change it, then everything will begin to change.
Okay, so I have to cancel lots of goals, and the one will come right after another, I'm sure, the more worksheets I do. I do plan on spending time tonight on some worksheets, finally, when court is tomorrow. It's small claims court, so it's a one-shot deal with 25 seconds in front of the judge, or mediation before that. So maybe I can clear the contents of my mind enough and the super processor can go to work that I'll just be able to face it easier. And,
right.
I mean, I know that ultimately I have to accept the outcome, and I guess I'm believing that I have some effect on the outcome, or I can cause it in some way. I can, persuade.
Well, I'll tell you that the more powerfully you are the space of love for yourself, for this person who's opposing you, and for the judge, the more powerfully you will affect the outcome. And as the active presence, the more powerfully you'll be able to affect the outcome.
I'm sorry, I'm driving by a truck here. And the more powerfully I'm in the space of love, you said, then that will be the only thing that could affect anything if it indeed does. So that's the other thing I have a hard time doing.
Well, you might remember old Job. Job is going through all this trauma, and his final lesson and his final realization is, that which I feared most has come upon me. So if you go into the courtroom filled with fear, you will have an effect on the outcome, and chances are it will be exactly what you fear. Yeah. As you forgive your fear, remember, you're not forgiving this person, you're not forgiving yourself, you're not forgiving the judge. As you forgive, remove this fear, then you go into the courtroom in a connected space of love, holding the space for a fair outcome. If this person has lied to you, the judge will go, well, that's not acceptable. If you've got documentation of, this is why it took this time period, then a fair outcome will be what will happen. If you're in a fear that an unfair outcome will come about, then that will tend energetically to support an unfair outcome.
Okay. So even though, so you know what the other fear is that everybody tells you is you're better off to settle outside the courtroom because you could get up to 3 times worse from the judge,
Well, that's all fear-based stuff. And so the first order of business, notice that you're pulling in lots of fear advice, fear-based advice, and now you're hearing some sanity and love-based advice and input.
Yeah.
So I invite you to just recognize that you are a being called love. You can walk through this whole thing and have this huge side benefit that almost no one else ever gets out of a situation like this. And the huge side benefit is I get to heal my fear. I get to be conscious enough to realize that I am making up the whole idea that this is drama. As I say, this friend of mine, it was drama for him when he first started, and then once he chose to do some healing around it, going to court for him was a blast. He had fun. He enjoyed it. He looked forward to it. In fact, at one point he said, I'm going to be kind of disappointed when this is over with.
Well, I do feel, I know when I'm in the power of love, and I feel like I can face anything and it doesn't matter what others think, or I'm just there to flow and go through it. And I need to take the edge off of all my grievances, my own grievances, and just love myself again. I have a lot attached to this, too. So I'll work on that, and I'll call tomorrow maybe. And I go into court at 1, so...
Michael, maybe walk her through doing the attachment release process.
Yeah.
Well, is there anyone else waiting to talk?
Say again?
Is anyone waiting to talk to you?
Well, it doesn't matter. You're with us right now.
Okay.
So that's what's important. If there's somebody else waiting, then when their turn comes, we'll give them full attention. Right now, you deserve full, total attention and support. That's what we're here for.
Thank you.
So Jeanie was just suggesting a releasing of attachments. Is that something you'd be willing to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
when we have emotional attachments, what tends to happen is we tend to get stuck in the pattern of those attachments. So what this particular process is about that Jeanie's referring to is one that we do that releases those attachments. And instead of functioning out of emotional cycles in this relationship, you get to function out of conscious awareness. Changes everything.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you're interested in doing that, what I'm going to invite you to do is to close your eyes. And anybody else that's listening to the show, if there's a relationship, if there's a situation where you've got a lot of emotional attachment, a lot of emotional stuff going on, you might just follow the instructions. It only takes a minute, and it is extremely effective. I mean, I've seen it make some major, major changes in people's lives. And it's really simple. So close your eyes, and I'm going to direct you to a place in your brain.
Okay. Just for the record, I can't close my eyes right now.
And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to ask you to just imagine that I have 2 pencils. And I'm going to place one of the pencils right through and insert it through the top of your crown, the top of your head. The other pencil, imagine, I'm going to place right through the center of your forehead. Where those 2 pencils meet is the state of the unconscious where you can let go of those attachments. When you're there, let me know.
Okay, I have that imagined, but I am driving, so I'm going to pull off
then you can't do that. Yeah.
I'm pulling off as soon as I can. Yeah.
Okay.
Or will we be doing the whole thing with eyes closed?
Yeah, you can just we'll do the whole thing. It'll only take a minute, 45 seconds. It's not a big long thing. So yeah, if you can pull off, I'd not realized you were driving.
Yeah, I'm coming up on the turn off finally. I'm glad there is one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
But I do have that visual, but to deeply experience it, I'm sure is important. So here I am. Cool. Oh, this
when you're there, let me know.
I'm there. The engine is almost off. Okay, I'm off. Okay, thank you.
So anybody else who wants to join us in this process, what we'll invite you to do is just to close your eyes and imagine I'm inserting these 2 pencils, one through the crown, right through the top of your head in the center, and one right through the center of the forehead. They're sharpened pencils, and where the 2 pencil tips meet is where we want you to focus your awareness. So, Julie, when you're focused there, let me know.
Okay, I'm good. I see the 2 pencil tips.
Okay. And now, what's this woman's name?
Pam.
Pam. So I want you to stay focused in that spot, see the unconscious, and get an image of Pam to come to mind.
Mhm. Okay.
And when you've got an image and you're focused there, let me know.
I do.
Okay? And now, out loud, and you're familiar with the idea of Ruka being that internal elemental force that follows our direction. So you're going to speak to Ruka. Ruka, I release all attachment to Pam.
Ruka, I release all attachment to Pam. That was hard in my throat.
Okay?
Okay.
And I notice a little bit of breath release. Are you feeling anything in your head or your hands?
My throat. My head.
Okay. What happened there?
The head feels light.
Okay, cool. That's it. You did it. Watch how your emotional response to that whole scene changes now.
Okay.
And your emotional interaction with her changes.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you.
And know that, judges see things that are kind of crazy all the time. And if you simply say, I was told that there were things done that weren't done, and it took time to do, and it's out of your control. So, there was damage done, and the damage needs to be taken care of. And you didn't know what damage might have been underneath the damage that was visible, so you couldn't obviously give her money back until the damage was all corrected. That seems like a very plausible explanation, and I think that any reasonable judge will go along with it.
Yeah, and I took care of everything as quickly as I could, and it's all done, and she's got her money, except for what more she still thinks she deserves. She still wants, so.
Yeah. Cool.
I'll just, okay. Thank you, Michael.
All right. Delighted to be on the team and delighted to be supporting you. And we certainly love being out there, and Medford and Ashland and all the work that you did to support that happening was awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome, and it's still awesome, and people still are coming to the support groups, and they love your work, and they're combining with everything else they're doing in life, and their lives are changing. There's a woman named Sarah. I hope Sarah will call you. She's a young woman who started doing 5 worksheets a day. She did the children's ones from the children's book that was written by Julie Hagerstock. And yeah, right there. And I told her to call you because she had to move away to go to college, and she still wants support. So hopefully she'll call. Her name is Sarah, and I hope she's listening.
Cool. Fabulous.
Thank you.
All right, blessing.
All right.
We hold the whole thing in a blessing. All righty, bye-bye. Take care. Good suggestion, Jeanie. Thank you. That was something I hadn't thought of.
Awesome. We have another caller on the line.
Oh, cool. Fabulous.
Area code 954. You're on the air. Who do we have?
Hello, my heart family. This is Nene Ortega.
Hi, Nene.
Hello, Nene Ortega. I love the way you say that, Ortega.
Thank you. Well, I'm very happy, and I've been getting a lot of wonderful feedbacks from my people in Orlando, Florida.
Uh-huh.
And also, I wanted to share that I spoke to Ray Connie. Remember, she's our colleague. She was in the intensive with us, Ray.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we were talking about that it was very interesting as after all the intensive, we came back to our places, and a lot of the things that we were healing showed up again, like another layer. And then she and I remember in our conversation that we have to go back and do all the above and to continue cleaning whatever residue there was. And then also, I think it's part of testing ourselves to be able to maintain that highest and best when those things come out.
Right.
And what we found interesting is that we were trying to figure out, okay, but why do you think he said that? What do you think this? And then I remember in our courses and speaking with David that it doesn't matter to figure it out. We know that anything unlike love is the carbon-based memory.
You got it.
So, and each time we try to figure out, it's like falling back into the carbon-based memory.
Yeah, that if you listen to the codependence video, that's one. Although I don't think it's on the current video, the codependence video, we talk about the what I call the pseudo solutions of the non-being mind, and one of them is if I could just figure this out, then everything would be okay. And you can't figure it out; it's just not possible. There's no conceivable way to do that.
Yep. So it was great for me to talk to her and reconnect with each other and just kind of tapping into the heartland energy, and it was fabulous. I mean, we felt each other. It was a great support, and then, we reminded each other to listen to the radio. Watch the DVDs again, and then I'm ready this week to start looking for other places to continue the lectures in Spanish.
Awesome.
So.
Very cool.
Yep.
Well, Ray is coming back for the Intuitive Development Intensive. Maybe you want to come back to Intuitive Development too.
She told me I would love to. Let's see what happens, but at least because I'm starting with the new, and I don't want to disconnect right now from what I'm trying to get people and starting.
Dayu is back. If you haven't talked to her, she's back in Miami, and
so
I know she's raring to go. I mean, in Chicago here, I mean, she just contacted so many people and got so much energy moving. It was amazing.
Amazing. She's very good. Yes, absolutely. So that's my share for today.
Awesome. Glad to be on the team. It was just awesome to hear about you doing your first solo Why Is This Happening to Me Again workshop, and that was in Spanish in Orlando, and the folks that benefited from that is just amazing.
Yep. Okay. Well, big hug.
All right.
Continue listening.
Okay, we enjoy sharing the planet with you.
Yep. Amen.
Okay. Bye-bye. Awesome. What a blessing these teachers are that are taking the work and moving it around the globe. And especially, I think Nene is going to make a major mega splash in the Spanish world. She's from Spanish-speaking countries, and just what she's going to do with it is fabulous. And I understand that she's heading back to Orlando in another week or two, and that Dr. Andraki's wife, Stephen Andraki's wife, Claudia, is going to be hooking up with her there, and maybe they'll co-teach another Y workshop or something like that. So it's awesome. And by the way, if there's anybody in Fort Lauderdale, Nene, I don't think has actually started a Spanish-speaking support group yet, but you might want to do that. Nene, that might be something to step into. And there is a Spanish-speaking support group that Claudia Andraki runs out in Las Vegas at the Medical Center. And there's an English-speaking one at the Medical Center in Pahrump, and an English-speaking support group at Unity. I just talked to the person who's heading that up, and that's moving along really well. Every week there's a lot of very intense interaction happening with the tools, and that's at Unity in Las Vegas. So lots of good things happening around the globe. Forgiveness it's an idea whose time has come. And again, when we're talking about forgiveness, we're not talking about letting other people off the hook. We're talking about changing what's happening inside of us. We're glad you're here. Any other callers, Jeanie, or anything happening in the chat room? Dr. Tim, you got anything to share?
Tim is on there and David's on there. There are no other questions in the chat room or on the switchboard. Our call-in number is 646-200-4169. We'd love to hear from you. Oh, we just got a hand up.
Cool. Come on in.
Area code 541.
It's Michael. It's Julie again. Hi.
Well, hey there, young lady.
You know, I forgot the sentence that I said to Ruka. How did it go again?
I release, just simple, I release all attachment to and whoever it is you've got attachments with. And basically what happens is the emotional cycles just tend to disappear. It doesn't mean you're letting go of your connection with that person. It's just the things, the strings that we pull. You know, it's kind of like Jeanie likes to use the example of, you know, if you've got two people that are playing tug-of-war with a rope, you know, they kind of push and pull each other around. But if you let go of your end of the rope, you can't be pulled anymore. Their game has to change. And so when you release those attachments, the game has to change. And it often changes in major ways. I wouldn't be surprised if she called and said, you know, this is all a big mistake. Let's just drop it. I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
Wow. Okay, I released all attachment to Pam. All attachments.
Yep.
Okay, that's simple. All right.
All right, and of course it's something that you or anybody that's listening can do anytime. But what I suggest, because it does have some pretty profound energetic impact, is that you don't sit down and, okay, well, I'm going to do 100 people on my list today. That you do one of those releases and then kind of let things settle in for about a week. And then if you want to do another one, then do another.
Okay, good. Thank you. I just wanted to hear that again so I didn't make it up, you know. That's
sure.
So,
all right, cool.
All right. Thanks for everything.
Safely.
All
okay,
right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, I'm sitting here in downtown Chicago in my van. It's amazing the technology that we've got. And I'm sitting with, fortunately, I found a place with a good signal, and I could actually park in downtown Chicago. So I'm looking at a huge church steeple, and I'm surrounded with skyscrapers. And you folks can still hear me. It's just amazing. And we've got a nice cool day in Chicago. I think it's about 65 degrees. Last night, slept with windows open. It was absolutely fabulous. So, David, Dr. Tim, anything for you gentlemen to share?
Well, I was just reading Dancing Rose in the chat room says the energy doing in a group increases the vitality. She says, I had two people,
for sure.
MindShifters and Still Point Breathing at one point. Something strong came up for me, and she did a MindShifter as well. So I have to echo that. We have quite a bit of energy that moves every week in the MindShifters group, and the testimonials, as we've mentioned before, are just, they're phenomenal. And the major life events that people are dealing with, far better, with much better results than they would have just a year ago. And some people have only been in the group for 3 or 4 months, and they bring in testimonials that they just amaze.
Yeah, it is amazing to watch how it happens. It is such an awesome blessing to be able to support people in doing this work that it's just it's beyond the normal believable. At least that's my experience.
Well, we had some people in the Saturday workshop where moved years just in the process of doing a worksheet, and you were instructing us all to do a worksheet on a relatively minor issue with another person. And
right.
And it's not uncommon when people are willing to look at their material that they start doing a worksheet and they're moved to tears. And that, to me, is a major indicator of the power of the tool when combined with that element of willingness.
Yeah, definitely the willingness is the key, and anybody that wants to see what Tim's talking about or hear, go to the website, go to whyagain.com, W-H-Y again, and on the right-hand side there's a link that says download worksheets. The third link is the most awesome willingness I've ever seen with someone who just, it's instant resolution of 3 major life issues right there on the spot in less than an hour. It's really an inspiring audio to listen to. and demonstrates very profoundly the action of the tool. So go to whyagain.com, right-hand side, download worksheets. Third link is a radio show. It's an MP3. You can download it free. You can download the book free. You can download the worksheet free. All the material's there. Jump on and make use of it. It's an awesome resource. You want to introduce somebody to the process, and they're going to intellectually argue with you about how it couldn't work, and that's ridiculous, and why would I forgive anyway? But, burn CDs of that, pop it into a CD player, and say, well, let's just listen to this. And it's irrefutable. And if I had sat down and wrote a script for how a worksheet would unfold and how powerful it would be, and to hire the best actress or actor in the world to demonstrate the shift, I couldn't have written it. I don't care who I would have gotten as the actor or actress. This was just so spontaneous and so on-the-spot powerful. Burn CDs, give them to your friends. You're having trouble convincing people to forgive, just give them to your friends. Just the invitation to just listen to that will change people's lives. So just call. And our phone number is 646-200-4169. If you have a question for us, we would be absolutely delighted to hear from you. Jeanie, anything happening in the chat room? David, I haven't heard David's voice yet. David, are you there?
David is on. There's nothing going on in the chat room, though.
Oh, hey there, sir. How do you be today?
I'm doing very well. It's very nice to have some cool weather, kind of like what you guys are having in Chicago. It feels like a fall day here. So, doing well. Nice to hear that Lisa's processing through some things, and to hear the good feedback that you gave her on it. So I support her in holding the space tomorrow and to be complete.
That was Julie.
Julie, yeah. Cool. Fabulous. So do you have anything on your mind today to share with us, David?
When I listen to Nene, it's really fabulous to reiterate. And I'm wondering that if so many folks have talked about support and doing things and why to do them. Talking with Nene and being part of the radio show here, that the vibrancy, the frequency, just to tap in, just even listen into it. There's several people that I've talked with, Nene being one of them, that said, there's a lot of times that she calls in and she just listens without getting on the air. And just by connecting in that way within it raises that vibratory energy so that there can be some shifts that go on within each individual. And so that's what's really going on with me. I've been in healing and process for the last couple of weeks. It's a bit of a challenge for me at times being here at Heartland and different things that are going on. And so that's why I'm at, getting ready for the intensive. I think this intuitive intensive is going to be really fabulous. Talked with a friend of mine, Tom Wilcox, in Chicago this morning, and he's considering coming. And I think that what goes on with me about this intensive, it is the last one that's scheduled for here at Heartland. We may wind up doing intensive some other place, some other location. Heartland was going to be complete for this year. And what a way to complete 2011 and go into 2012. For to me, that's what 2012 is about. It's about higher vibrancy, a higher energy of tapping into my intuitive self and resonating with that. I liked how you talked with Lisa in that reference as well, because if I hold
Julie,
the frequency of...
Are you talking about Julie, the conversation earlier on the show?
Oh, I thought it was Lisa.
No, Julie.
Oh, okay. Well, I was thinking it was Lisa that was here at Heartland. that was going to court.
No.
And so whichever person, same situation, it is about letting go of that filter of hostility or fear and coming from another space. I'll give one quick story about one of my cousins. He called me on Saturday and was going to attend a wedding, and he was going more out of obligation, or at least that's what he was saying. And he was concerned about seeing family members that he had not seen since his older brother had died a couple of years ago, and he had a lot of hostility and fear around it. And when he did some work and made an agreement of what he was going to do, was to hold that space. And when I talked with him yesterday, he was so elated. He said, everything just went so fabulous. I had such a great time. And this was a person that was just in full fear about even going and raging about it. And he processed through that. So, just some good stuff. Good stuff going on.
Yeah, well, when you bring up the intuitive intensive, and we'll just let people know if you're ready to take your work to the next level, the 16th of September, so it's about 10 days, we'll be starting a 9-day intuitive development intensive. And I was doing some work around the intensive this morning, and one of the intuitive shots that I got, one of the hits that I got was that everything meaningful that comes into our world comes from outside of what we call the human mind. That the human mind, this body's energetic information storage system, only knows how to replicate whatever's there or variations on the theme. But when something truly new comes in, it doesn't come from the mind. In fact, the mind is the thing that blocks it. A tremendous amount of so-called education is really indoctrination meant to block the intuitive faculty, because the world oftentimes is not too interested in having geniuses. What the world wants is good commercial slaves. And so to keep that block becomes a key. But every really, truly new invention, and you'll notice that oftentimes if you look at the different fields, that the new invention comes from outside of the field. Why is that? Because the replicate mind only knows how to replicate what it's been trained through. Everybody that's educated in a particular field knows the way it works. Actually, there's a scientist, I'm working on a new opening chapter for my new book, Why Is This Happening to Me Again, the new version. And there's a scientist named Thomas Kuhn, very well-respected, Harvard, Princeton. This guy's like super genius. And what he says is that new science only makes headway in the world when the old scientists die off, because everybody that's been so-called educated, and really the word educare means to draw out. It is about the intuitive faculty, but what has degraded into education in our culture is indoctrination, is filling the mind in with information. And so those educating in the field have difficulty seeing outside of it and reaching outside of what's been put into their minds. So if you check and see, you'll see that a lot of the new inventions, a lot of the really, revolutionary things that have happened come from somebody totally unrelated to the field, somebody who can function out of their intuition, because the noise of their programmed replicate mind is no longer in the way. So it's a pretty cool process when you recognize it. And so if you want to do something new in your field, you want to do something that revolutionizes your life or your world, you've got to be out of your mind. You've got to get out of the replicate mind. The secrets are not hidden in the mind, they're hidden by the mind. And as you forgive, you collapse the output of the mind. And in collapsing the output of the mind, you strengthen the awareness of the higher faculties. I love Einstein's quote about intuition. And what he says is that we've been given a sacred gift and a faithful servant, the rational mind. The sacred gift is our intuition, and we've built a culture that ignores the sacred and honors the slave, the servant, the rational mind. And, it's time for us to wake up beyond that to really start to function outside of it. And actually, if you look into the ancient teachings, those who awakened from their mind or were born out of their minds were called reborn. That's what it really means. And so that's what we're looking to do, is to support people in the awakening to their higher faculties and functioning out of those. And, by the way, and David, we haven't had really a chance to have this conversation. Ari was at the workshop on Sunday, and he said that he may be able to make it for the latter part of the intuitive development intensive, but not the beginning of it because it's a big family wedding. But he would like to do something more oriented toward food. And so we're looking at maybe the first week in October, we might just schedule a 9-day or a 10-day, and it looks like it'll probably be called Forgiveness, Fun, Food, and Selfless Service. So we're going to do kind of a combination. We haven't really laid it all out yet, but kind of a combination of things. We're going to do some playtime. We're going to do some work time, some projects, or some things we need to button up at Heartland. We're going to do, Ari's going to just bring some awesome new recipes and really train people in some kitchen things in food, the food arena. And actually, I think it was inspired for Ari. I don't know if you remember Joy, what's Joy's last name? I'm not remembering Joy's last name, but anyway, she was at the Split Point Breathing Workshop. No, not Joy Lindsley. There were two Joys at that intensive.
Joy Bell.
Joy Bell, right. So Joy Bell was acknowledging Ari for teaching her how to chop and use a knife properly. And Ari was kind of like, well, I didn't even realize that I did that. I do those things so automatically. And I think out of that, her delight, and she was at Heartland about 3 years ago, her delight at that sort of inspired Ari, well, let's do something that's more oriented toward food. So there'll be more kitchen time and more learning about food preparation in that, and we'll be doing some forgiveness work at the same time. So it'll probably be a 9-day intensive. We'll be pricing it differently than our normal intensive, because we're going to do some work projects as well. So keep your ear to the phone. We may be setting that up. I'm hoping to meet with Ari today about that. I'm actually in downtown Chicago, and we had talked about getting together. There's a new Whole Foods store here that he says is just awesome. Apparently it's several blocks long, and it's a store designed to hold 2,000 people. So that gives you some idea. It's like a mega store where they have, I think he said 10 different restaurants. So I'm planning to go over and see that after we finish visiting CJ. So keep your ear to the ground on that one, or on the website, and we'll put a flyer together. If that comes together, we'll be letting you know. It'll probably be the first week in October. Ari has to check his calendar to see if that's going to work, and we'll take it from there. So in the meantime, anybody in the chat room with any thoughts, or anybody else on the phone with a call in. It's so much fun to just be with people and answer their questions. And, you were talking to him about this vitality, and, David, the African proverb that I love to repeat, and that is, they had the insight, if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And even the gathering of the people who are on the phone right now and on the internet listening to this radio show, the energy of those people directed toward one who has a challenge is awesome power of support. And it doesn't matter if that person that we're supporting is on the other side of the planet. The only thing that we know that can stop the high energy wave that leaves the human form when we focus on it and direct it, the only thing we know that can stop it is another set of brain cells that's in tune with it, another being that's in resonance with it. And so we're here to actualize, to make real the understanding of that dynamic in our world, and to support every mind, heart, and being on the planet functioning as that awesome presence of love that we were all created to be, that we were all created out of. Everybody that holds a newborn knows exactly what a human life is. And the world tends to convince us to give it up. We're here to help you reclaim it. Callers, questions, thoughts in the chat room?
There's nobody on the switchboard asking any questions. Nene did say when David was talking, she typed in and said, "You are a great teacher. Whenever I ask for support, you gently guide me to be aware of my own thoughts and to question myself, to reconnect to love. I find the answers myself, but guided by you, David." And that's real education.
Nice acknowledgement. You're doing good work, sir.
Thank you.
Well, just in case you don't know what's happening in the Chicago area, we're actually in Naperville, Illinois tonight. I'll be doing a lesson called What is the World from A Course in Miracles. Tomorrow night, we'll be doing, if I remember correctly, Healing Through Relationships. Wednesday night, Getting the Stress You Need. Thursday night, something else. And Friday night, Codependence to Interdependence. I don't recall the exact order of the workshops that we're doing. And then Saturday, for anybody that is ready to do some still point breathing, we'll be doing a MindShifters and still point breathing workshop. And we're at a place called the Rula Center in Naperville. Awesome space and a really sweet group of folks. They've been doing the work there for about 3 years and are getting ready to officially start a support group that will probably welcome you, Dr. Kim, to take you up on your invitation to come down and support them in really getting it rocking. So, and we'll look forward to seeing you tonight at the What is the World lesson. Have you ever seen me present that lesson before?
No, this will be a new one for me.
Oh, cool. Fabulous. Well, for people who are working with A Course in Miracles, there's a lot of misinterpretation of the Course in Miracles out there, and this lesson, I think, is one of the most important for the Course because most people think when they say that, the world is not real, they think that it's what they touch when they put their hand out there and touch whatever's going on out there, whether it's another person or what have you. And that's absolutely not what the Course is saying. That is absolutely untrue. And this particular lesson shows, if it's properly understood, exactly what the Course means. And the world that the Course is aiming at correcting is the one right between our ears. And that's what we're here to do, is to support people in correcting the world between your ears.
And we're out of time, Michael.
Oh, wow. Already?
Yeah.
My phone hasn't warned me.
Our streaming is off.
Oh, well, we were still 3 minutes away from completion, according to my phone, and it didn't. Usually it comes on and says 90 seconds, 60 seconds.
Yeah, it's over. So.
Tim, can you still hear us, Tim?
Well, I'm on the phone.
Okay. Yep,
so I can hear through the phone.
On the switchboard, the countdown is over. So I'm going to play the outro, but I'm not sure that it's even recording us right now. So.
It just told me 90 seconds.
Thank you for listening to MindShifters Radio with the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeanie, who present the internal Aramaic process of forgiveness. Michael and Jeanie are here every Monday through Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Earth Angels Radio. For more on Michael and Jeanie, please visit www.whyagain.com. That's www.whyagain.com.